Bulls on Tap. Your one stop for all your Chicago Bulls needs. Hosted by Alejandro Delgado and Tre Ruff.
Welcome to Bulls on Tap podcast. I am your host, Alejandro. We have Tre Ruff.
What's up?
We have the man, the myth, the legend, the host, the Horns Over Hoops podcast, one of our writers, Sal Bass. Can we give it up for Sal?
Thank you, man. To be referred to as a legend, I mean,
a legend.
I don't think I've told you this. I don't think I need to make it more public. Horns Over Hoops has to be the most underrated podcast in the Bulls sphere. I'm not just saying that.
Man. Thank you.
You guys put on a great show. It is entertaining, even when there's nothing to talk about. You guys find a way to make something interesting. The chemistry there is great. It's authentic. It's
authentic. Authentic is the best.
Thank you so much. That means a lot to us, man. When we first started it, it was like anybody could just go on ESPN or the internet and find stats. So we kind of wanted to put together like a show, like give you guys something to listen to. A lot of interaction because we play like little games. In fact, the beginning of every show, I started off with like a Tuesday trivia for the fans to like get involved, warm up to the show. And sometimes it's a positive show, and sometimes we have nothing positive to talk about. So we try to make it as positive as possible, despite the situation the Bulls may be in at the time of the year. So
that's very real with the team that we got going on. We got to make the best of it sometimes.
Facts.
I got the first question, I guess. How long you been doing Horns Over Hoops?
So we just celebrated our second anniversary. Thank you. Yeah, that was in October we started. Honestly, it was just we're three friends from high school. Like I've known Dan and Scott for 20 plus years now, and we've been talking basketball ever since. And you know, we were just three friends talking on the phone or talking on text. And one day I came up with an idea. I'm like, we should just start a podcast. Like, you know what? We never talk with voice. Like I hate texting. Like I can't text really fast because I'm 37, man. I'm not a young gun that I can text super fast. So I'm like, let's just talk with the voice. I'm like, if people listen to it, they listen to it. If not, you know, it's fun
to have the conversations anyways, right?
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. We're the same way. We've been friends for a while, college roommates. Tre does not like texting. I'm gonna have to FaceTime him to just talk about anything. Yeah. Like, hey, you watch the game? What do you think? Like, just random stuff.
Yeah, I'm 37 in my head. Even though I'm not on paper, I'm not in my head. I'm 37 with you. So I'm all that texting is beyond me.
Yeah.
All right. We'll get more into you, Sal.
All right.
Pause. What is your favorite Bulls moment?
Man, it's a loaded question.
Yeah.
So I've been watching the Bulls for 30 years, and it's hard to pick, but I think the one that sticks out the most, and it's going to be cliche, but it was the quote unquote push, the Jordan's last shot as a Bull, man. I remember the exact place I was watching it live, and I remember the t-shirt I was wearing down like that, and it's 30 years of it was just the most spectacular moment as a Bulls fan, and especially knowing going into it that was the last ride, you know what I mean? And how do you close a Cinderella story better than the greatest of all time hitting a shot in Salt Lake City? You know what I mean? So that has to be number one.
That's so unfair. Like that's the top. That's one of the top basketball moments ever. And just yeah, bro. If you were if the Bulls that we've been watching ever since we could, we haven't got nothing, no moment close to that. Even
no.
Yeah, we're still waiting for that big moment. That's such an unfair. That's the best one. If you can't remember that, you're just.
I remember because I was what was it? I was 98, so I was 10. I was wearing my back in the day, like do you guys remember when like the Looney Tunes shirts were big?
Oh yeah.
Where it was like the Looney Tunes, like I was wearing that. It was like, I think it was Sylvester, Taz, and then Bugs Bunny, all like arms crossed, and I remember everything. And I was in California with my Uncle Frank, and we were watching the game live. That was back before we had cable. My grandpa had a bunch of land in California, so he had like the biggest satellite dish in the world in his yard. And the only thing I can remember is my Uncle Frank going ballistic that he could not program the dish to the right frequency. And then finally we caught it right before tip off. So
that's dope. Yeah, what 98 out there? We were like -3.
We were -2 actually. -2.
Me personally, I was born in the late 90s, so
Oh, you remember that, right? You remember the Jordan push off?
I remember. Yeah, I remember for sure. I peeked through the stomach and I could see just.
All right, I have a follow-up question with that. So when The Last Dance came out and you watched it, did those feelings when you first saw Jordan do the push-off and you seen that for the first time, did you have like a Ratatouille moment? I don't know if you understand the reference, but
I've not seen Ratatouille. Don't don't hate, but I haven't seen that.
No,
movie.
You're fine. It's like, so he goes and the food critic goes and eats the Ratatouille, and he just like, it zooms to a flashback of when he's a kid eating his mother's Ratatouille.
He has his epiphany.
Yeah, like it's because now your mother's food is typically always the best.
Yeah.
So
Hands down.
Like, did you have that kind of moment watching The Last Dance, getting those feelings worked up through every episode?
Yes and no. I mean, it was cool that you revisit the moment. It's like that burst of nostalgia, but like it was kind of quickly taken away because they were trying their best to, like, that whole Last Dance. It was kind of like they were trashing the Bulls. I mean, it was like a documentary of, I love how they kind of, angled it on the Jordan view, because like you got the greatest of all time. Like, of course he's going to get the spotlight, you know what I mean? But it just seemed like there was a lot of unnecessary negativity. So when I saw them talking about the push off, how they're like going rough into the debate of, was it a push? And I'm like, and that wasn't a push. That was just fair. I mean, it was the 90s, man. That was nothing compared to some of the fouls that they were doing in the 90s, man.
Thank you. Thank you. Like, come on. Let's not pretend that the 90s wasn't a physical brand of basketball. Like, why was that the moment where everybody got all soft?
Yeah.
And then 3 episodes before, talking about the Jordan rules and Bill Laimbeer slapping Jordan down.
That was okay.
Yeah, that was fine.
That's basketball. That is NBA basketball. But a little push off. Who was it? Jeff Hornacek? He couldn't handle it.
Byron Russell, yeah. No,
Byron
Russell. Think that Byron Russell would have.
Just a little. Excuse me. Come on. He didn't earn that. If anybody earned that, Jordan earned that.
Yeah. Play better defense. What do you want me to say?
For sure. Hands up.
Yeah.
Hand down, man. Next question. Who's your favorite Bull? Who's your favorite Bull of all time?
I said this on Shy Bulls podcast. Shout out to them. Again, cliche. The GOAT's always going to be Mike. Mike got me into basketball because of my dad. Me and my dad, when my dad's a foreigner, he came here in 1985 from Italy. So we didn't have, like, soccer wasn't big here, so we had the Bulls. And he loved because it was kind of like soccer. Instead of putting it with your feet, you put it with your hands. So he was big into the Bulls. And while other kids were watching cartoons, I watched the games with my dad. So it was a way for me to connect. And he loved MJ. Like, MJ was his guy. Later on, he liked Tony Kukoc because everyone else said that he kind of looked like Tony Kukoc. So he shifted to Tony. But MJ will always hold, just a special place in me because, that was what made Chicago basketball. Let's be honest. But my true favorite player of all time had to be D Rose, like, bar none. I felt like Derrick Rose to my generation was like what Michael Jordan was to, like, the previous generation, because you hear it all the time. Like, I never quite understood what it meant to, like, I want to be like Mike, where people were going out in the backyard, Jordan, trying to hit the fadeaway. I never understood what that really meant until D Rose just changed the game and started putting up, just these monster layups and these killer crossovers. So the up and unders. Yeah. So you being my age, I was, what was I, early 20s, like you're in your prime of your athletic career, your athletic prime. And I'm like, I want to be like Rose. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In fact, this is kind of lame, but every time we play pickup ball, you ever see like Mike?
Mm-hmm.
Before the game, how he like pinches the shoes. He's like, make me like Mike. I would always like whisper to myself, make me like Rose. And
that's real.
It's lame,
that's real.
Never played that good. But, mentally.
I'm right with you on that, trying to be like Rose. Like I was about 4'11" in my high school when I got to high school, and I was like 14, 15. So that D Rose high one hand 2 feet floater was like my go-to. Mix it up with the acrobatic layups, like finishing wise. I everything. I don't think I would have ever hit a layup if I didn't watch D Rose. Like I patterned it all off of D Rose, and that's probably why I never developed a jumper, because I never seen D Rose take too many jump shots. So I was not trying. I wasn't even trying. I was like, yeah, me and D Rose are doing whatever D Rose doing.
Yeah, that was like, he was like the peak, man. Like, after that, people stopped. I mean, I guess you call your Westbrooks and all that, but people shied away from that layup and stopped driving. They just wanted to hit the long ball, which, I understand. You got to give the fans and the people what they want, and the 3-ball gives you the most points to win. But, just the athleticism and nothing tops just driving the paint and hitting just the most acrobatic layup over a 7-footer and just kiss it off the glass like poetry in motion.
Yeah, that's the thing about D Rose. His game, he put so much pressure on you at all times. Because shooting the ball, you're not really able to put the pressure on the defense. Because if you miss, you miss. If you make it, you make it. Realistically, wide open with a hand in the face, as an NBA player, it doesn't make too much of a difference. They shoot the ball with their normal stroke, and it is what it is. But like someone who's constantly attacking you, someone who changes speeds in the blink of an eye, keeps you so on your toes. Like a lot of people say D Rose probably the hardest person they have to guard, but like just when that electricity that he used to give, like watching him, it was just like so unmatched. D Rose always gives me that special feeling inside. Like,
yeah, I still watch his I mean, I'm sure you guys do. I still religiously watch his highlights this day. Like to the point where my wife's like, how many times are you going to watch him dunk on Dragic? I'm like, as many times as I need. As many times as I need. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Every time is the answer. Every time. Yeah.
Every time.
So you touched on this earlier, but I want to like see more in depth.
Yeah.
Why do you cover the Bulls? Like even like right now, shifting away from more positivity of D Rose to the current state, what motivates you to like actually? Because there's one thing of just talking about it with your friends, but you go out of your way to find the stats, different thing. Like all of you have come with different opinions and have each your own piece of. I'm using the word evidence, but that's like when you're writing an essay. That's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
But like something to support your point. And what makes you do that though?
It's honestly, when it's all said and done, it's love of the game. Like I said, when it dates back to, and I hate repeating it, but like when me and my dad were growing up, he worked 7 days a week, foreigner, busting his behind. So really, the only moments that we got time to spend with each other was watching basketball. So like when kids were watching cartoons, I was watching NBA on NBC. So the Bulls have always been a part of my life for as long as I can remember. I mean, so the fact that you get to talk basketball and the team you love with two of your bestest friends since you were a kid, it just makes you want to give that much more to the work that you're putting in, because anyone can give opinions about the Bulls, say, oh, that game was bad, but fans that tune into your content, they deserve to hear specifics like stats. Like I pride myself on pulling out that one stat that nobody really would think, like, oh, I didn't think about that stat. Like, it's more just giving the best product we can give for the consumers. You know what I mean? My goal is to when you're listening to our pod, you listen to it all the way through, whether the Bulls just won or they're on a 10-game losing streak, you still start the pod and you end it, whistle to whistle.
That's real.
I respect that. Yeah.
I can respect that too. Just like because a lot of people just half step it, and like you said, like good point that Ale was bringing up. Just the fact of like the Bulls aren't always in the best state. We're not always in the most happy state to just this is great, and we know we have our pain points with the Bulls. And it's not always easy to compile all of the stats and to get everything. So you gotta love the game to get out there and do it. But to even keep pushing in that and try to make sure that whoever's listening gets that full effect, that full like you got to listen to the end. That's like what we need a lot more of, I think, in the sports world, especially because like people get real lazy sometimes. I feel like, but I think it's refreshing when you see people that are really on top of it, trying to push, and really when you see the love of the game.
Thank you. Yeah, no, and I'll be honest with you. This year was probably the hardest for pushing out content. I still watch every single game. That's a given. But like this year, it was definitely testing my 30 years of watching the team, because it's different when you come out like flat-footed, like we do every other year. We're just an okay team, or we're really bad. But when you have a start of the season like we did, coming out 5-0 and beating some good teams. I mean, it's not like we beat the Hornets 5 times. We beat some good teams, you know what I mean? So it gave you that little bit of a spark, like, oh, is this our year? Even if nobody predicted it to be our year, and realistically it wasn't our year, but like it still gave you that little motivation. It rejuvenated your love for the game. But then to just basically, for lack of better words, to fall off a cliff and just, spew out just I don't want to say bad basketball, but just a kind of a poor product. You know what I mean? It tests your love. I still watch, but it's testing me.
You could say that again. That again. Yeah. I like it. It's sad. Yeah. Cause sometimes I'm watching the game and it's like, it's hard. It's hard to watch because we are literally like at some points we're not playing real basketball. We're running back and forth. The ball is bouncing off of people's feet. Like it's so crazy because especially now, I think I think maybe this is one of the big things too. We are running through a point guard. Like we're actually running through a point guard on the Bulls. We haven't ran through a point guard in a long time for the Bulls. Like actually like running our offense through the point guard. And it's also kind of, we're it's tough because he's also like arguably our best player, and he's very pass first. So we have a pass first point guard running the ball up, and he's trying to pass to these guys. It's like it seems like some of them aren't ready. It seems like some of them aren't ready for these moments, for these passes, for these plays, and it gets like sometimes, especially on offense, it gets hard to watch. Sometimes it gets hard. So this is definitely a challenging season, but it is like that spark of knowing what we could be if everybody just played, like if everybody found their spot, shot their ball, and got where we should be. We saw how good we could be. Like, do you guys think that we can even like minutely mirror that kind of spark that we had in the beginning of the season, more towards the middle of the season?
No. After Billy Donovan's comments, Vucevic's comments, it's been 20 games. It's just, I want to say yes, I really do. But for one, teams find you out, and they understand that when the Bulls run the pick and roll, both Giddey and Vooch majority of the time are rolling. So that's an easy, quick turnover. You have your hands in the passing lane. You can't really kick. You could try to kick out, but we have theoretical shooters. We don't have actual shooters. It's just hard when your players don't have a counter either. They don't have a go-to move to go attack the defense at when they close out. Like you could easily drive, but this is the NBA. Someone's going to come up and stop it. We don't have guys who are crafty enough to do so. And that's why I hate to be we start off on the negativity we don't want, but it's the truth, sadly.
We gotta speak the truth. Hey, good or bad, we gotta speak the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly,
what do you think?
Honestly, here's the thing. Does this team have potential to go back to what it was? It does, because like we said, we started out 5-0. We beat some good teams, so the talent was there. But the problem, in my opinion, is, and Bulls fans are probably not going to like this, because, like I said, a lot of my angles of how I watch the game comes from an 80s and 90s mentality. But before I get into it, not condescending, do any of you guys know how to calculate this imaginary stat that the Bulls live and die by called pace? Because I didn't know how to calculate pace. I just thought it was something Stacey King said every game. We lead the league in pace. We're up there in pace. You guys know how to calculate it?
I don't know how to calculate pace, but I hear him say it all the time for sure.
I know what it means. I know, but I can't do the math. Definitely can't.
Well, it puts you this way. It's like a 3 parentheses algorithm where you take team possession, add it to opponent possession, divide the number of minutes by 5, multiply all those. But it's insane. Where I stand by that is the Bulls push the pace way too much, to the point where they forgot how to play fundamental basketball. Having pace is one thing, but playing efficient basketball is another thing. And that's one thing I noticed, that, yeah, we can run fast. Well, cool. We're a young team. Our oldest guy is, Vooch, 36 years old. I mean, we should be running on every play. But if we're just running up the court and throwing the ball out of bounds or throwing it to a defender, what does pace even really mean? I told him, like, it's like owning a Ferrari but not knowing how to drive stick shift. Like, yeah, cool, you have it, but can you use it? And that's where something, where in the second 2/3 of the season, I'd like to really see the Bulls maybe take themselves out of the driver's seat to that pace stat, and maybe put themselves in the driver's seat of slowing the game down and reevaluating how to play fundamental basketball. And that means better passes. Like, there's no need to throw the ball 2/3 of the court just to make a pass for someone streaking. Take the extra 10 steps and make a better pass. You know what I mean? Besides that, it's like, how many games have you seen that we're up by 12, 10, 15, and then all of a sudden, within 2 minutes, the other team is back in it? If you have a 15-point lead, slow the game down. You know what I mean? Take time off that clock. Doesn't matter if it's second quarter, third quarter, whatever. Take time off that clock and limit the amount of shots that team can take to get back in the game. So I think if we could slow the game down and reevaluate fundamentals, and that goes from top to bottom, Billy to the players, but we'll be okay. I'm not going to say we'll be elite. I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, I like what you said on both sides, because for one, when we were doing good in that first span, it's because it didn't seem like it was hero ball. Where you noticed those first couple games, everybody was scoring top to bottom, and there was so much good cuts and passing that really haven't seen since Alonzo was our point guard for that one little bit of time before he got injured. Like, the way that the offense was running, like, real plays were being ran. It was real offense. That's what was winning for us in the beginning. And we definitely have gotten away from that. And like you said, we're running so fast, throwing the ball, turnover. And I think that's just because, like, I think from a skill set point, we don't have the best half court players. We have a lot of really nice transition. If we can catch them before they can set up, we can get a quick bucket and a quick layup or something like that. But in the half court, you see they struggle, and it always ends up seems like it still comes down to Josh Giddey taking a last minute shot or Vooch taking some kind of bailout shot, instead of, like, we don't have a lot of set half court nice plays, like, oh, let's run this, and then boom, we have somebody talented to do this. And like you said, a lot of players don't have counters. We're just, like, people are just passing the ball, and that's why like, so we can get into this later too, but like, even with the trades, like, there's some people that I see Bulls fans wanting versus not wanting. And I think, like, pace has a big thing to think of it. Like, when you said pace and the way we play, I instantly thought about the Jonathan Kuminga trade rumors, because there's half of the Bulls fans. Yes, I see your face. Half of the Bulls fans I've seen, like, really love that trade. And I get it, because the pace that the Bulls play with, like, Kuminga can fit in that let's run and gun. Here, pass him the ball. He's going to dunk the ball really fast like that. Though the people who love that fast-paced play would like that trade. But there are also people on the other side who are like, we should probably slow down a little bit. Yeah, that's a great place for you, Ale.
Oh man, like I'm so anti Kaminga. Like I saw a post. Shout out to numbers on the board where it's like, I'm not gonna trade for a guy that's getting DMPs and getting paid $20 million a year. I understand the appeal to Kaminga, but the reason why I'm just so anti Kaminga is because he doesn't offer anything different. He's not the greatest rebounder. He's not the greatest defender. He's undersized for his position, standing at like 6'7" for and he just doesn't shoot the three ball. I want a shooter. Like, can we get someone to stretch the floor for a team that wants to drive and kick or run and gun? You need to have at least someone run to the corner. He's not going to do that. He's not bringing anything different. And my mentality is, all right, who's going to complement in terms of trades and players we acquire is how can they complement Matas Buzelis and help him elevate his ceiling? That's the reason why I'm anti-Kaminga. And it's getting to a point where Bulls fans are just delusional. Like, yes, he could be a good player. He could probably go and support a team and be a starter on a winning basketball team. But I just don't see that here. And we're not in a position to have that. I don't know. What are your thoughts on this, Sal?
Well, my first thought is, despite whatever trade rumors you hear, Alejandro, you're the only AD that the city of Chicago needs right now. So here's the thing, man. When it comes to trades, a lot of people got to understand this Bulls team this year has been really battered. I mean, I don't think we've really played one whole game where somebody wasn't injured. I mean, I'm sure recently we have, but a few games back when we were losing to those subpar teams, we had a better half of our lineup out, Kobe in and out of the game. But me, I'm somebody that before I even sniff a trade, I want to see, is this it? Can this team not accomplish a goal with the players that they got? Because the Bulls just got their picks back. Any one of those players that have been linked to us, be it Giannis, be it Kaminga, be it AD, anybody, you're going to throw in a pick. You know what I mean? And this year, with the way we're playing, we have a solid opportunity to get a top 10 pick. And guess what? This talent pool coming out of in the draft, if they commit, really good. I mean, you got DeBance out of BYU, the Cam Boozer. I mean, I could go on and on, but you have to ask yourself as a GM, is it worth maybe hindering young player progression just to go get that guy that'll make you 10, 15 games better than you are? Because Kaminga, I'm a big fan of Kaminga's because he's a Golden State Warrior, not because he's a Bull. But is Kaminga going to be that guy that makes you a contender? No, we're not a contender. We're not. My co-host Scott, he said it best in the episode we just recorded, because you guys heard about the Giannis, how the Bulls said we don't want any part of it. You got to take a step back and realize, are we one Giannis away from winning a championship? Or are we just going to trade our future in the farm just to say that we have Giannis? You know what I mean? So trades, I love them and I hate them, but I don't think this team needs a trade right now. I think the team needs to buckle down and fix its locker room problems. And maybe I would say Billy needs to reevaluate his coaching angles, because I'm pretty sure he's the one saying push the pace, causing these turnovers. So before we go trading away our future and hindering us getting one of these generational talents coming out, maybe let's take a step back and change the way we play a little bit. But
yeah, I agree. I think I'm gonna just say I want Billy out of here. I think I'm over it. I think I'm over him. I don't think he cares enough. I've never seen it look like he cares enough. And in that case, then I need the players to be overly over the top, saying that Billy is more than what they need. Like, because I don't see it, and the players are there. It's not, I don't hear them talking bad about him, but it's not like they're talking about him like he's the best coach in the world. And like, I don't think that he's just secretly just going so hard behind everybody's back, and he just doesn't want everybody to see how good of a coach he is. I think he's pretty nonchalant, and I don't think the Bulls need that right now. I don't think the Bulls need that right now at all. I think we have a lot of young players with potential, and this is not the time to waste their youth their energy and what they can bring, and they all are easy to get to buy into a system because they're so young and impressionable. And I just feel like then you need somebody to really drill that. I don't think Billy is the type that he needs to be in a winning environment, and he can maybe hand you the keys. But like you said, if you don't know how to drive that stick shift, then there's no point even getting in that car. Like I just think Billy is just like throwing people keys and like, hey, drive, you know. We need somebody with a little more passion, I think.
Yeah. Well, look at we'll throw it back to Tom. You know, why did Tom have so much success in Chicago and so much controversy for that matter? It's because Tom wasn't a nice guy. I mean, he may be a nice guy, but he had the respect of the players. He was like, hey, for 48 minutes or more, if we go into overtime, you guys are going to be playing tough. Whistle to whistle. I don't want any excuses, or you're going to be sitting. And that's something that Billy, he doesn't really have that tough guy, you know, demeanor. Like you said, he looks like a nice guy, laid back. I mean, and that's cool, but at the same time, I don't think that when you're a young team like we are, I don't think there's any room for that, because you need that enforcer, you need that facilitator. And I will never be one to say that a coach needs to be fired, because, you know, bad karma goes around, comes around. But this definitely should be the year that the Chicago Bulls take a step back and say, is this the guy that we want? Because 4 states over, in a state called New York, they just fired their coach that brought them to the Eastern Conference Finals. And somehow we haven't made the playoffs in a few years, but he sticks around. I mean, like, how are you firing a coach that brought you to the Eastern Conference Finals, but a coach that doesn't even bring you into the playoffs? He's got job security. I mean,
I completely agree. They have the luxury, if you just sign Josh Giddey, so obviously you want him around long term. You have Buzelis, both young in their 20s. People like to harp on it a lot. The Bulls have the advantage here where we can take a back seat this season. Okay, season's done. It's not good. Let's go try to get this top pick. They have the luxury to lose for another season, add some talent, hopefully DeBonza, Cam Boozer, Peterson, and then try to regroup. But you gotta, as for Billy, and then I say AK as well, you need to let go. They're not, how much they talked about, oh, I like playing with so and so. Is it, Duncan said this on the last episode, is it to the point where it's crippling you from actually telling, okay, Sal, why aren't you, covering your defensive rotation? Why, Tre, why aren't you closing out on the perimeter? Things like that. Like, why can't they? Are you liking your friend too much where you can't tell them that you're scared you're going to ruin your friendship? At that, you all are being paid millions of dollars. At this point, players get traded all the time. We've had worse locker rooms. You need to be able to go and confront that, because then it's just awkward during the game when you see Vooch crashing out or Giddey crashing out, and you're like, oh, I don't know what to do. We've never had this talk or resolution.
Yeah, I think, not to cut you off, but I think that one big, and you can let me know how you feel about this, I think the biggest issue about that is we don't have, like, Giddey is our leader, our best player, but like all of our players are similar age and similar skills, similar talent, similar proven. They've all proven nothing. So I feel like everybody's scared to emerge as the leader. Like, even on a team like the Indiana Pacers, right? They are all pretty young. They're all like not a lot of known names, but you have that one player in Tyrese that took that step forward, and now he's the leader. And so it's easy to be like, okay, boom, him. Or we just don't have, and like we have one vet in Vooch, and you can feel how you feel about him. But as far as a vet, as far as someone who's going to enforce, he might not be the vet to like really enforce. It just seems like we don't have like a clear leader that stepped up.
Like, I want to know your thoughts on this too, Sal. When we hear the players talk about vets and everything, I always think back to the podcast, The Young Man and the Three, that Io, Buzelis, and Giddey were on. They reference their vets. Nobody's saying Nikola Vucevic, and this is not to, I don't want to just keep piling on him as like the horrible human being. Like, I'm sure he's a fine person, but is he the guy you need? Is is he really? You're trying to fit a square peg into a triangle? What's going on here? Like, is this really? And same goes for Billy. Where Billy's accomplished, but so you're afraid to step to him. Maybe that's not what this team needs right now. Maybe they need someone who's like young and developing like them. What are your thoughts on this, Sal?
So the thing about Vooch is, and I get a lot of flack about Vooch just because I stick up for the guy. I give him his crap when I need to give it to him, but I stick up for the guy because like it or not, when it's all said and done, this man will probably be a top 3 center who's ever put on a Chicago Bulls uniform. You know what I mean? It's just facts. But the thing with Vooch is, and I'm not agreeing with his mentality, but Vooch is he reminds me of somebody who he wants to come from a winning basketball team, a winning organization, not necessarily wins and losses, but just an overall good or a greatly run organization and team. So if he sees these young guys slacking off and the coach is doing nothing to, get back into their winning ways, of course he's going to be disgruntled. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that it's right, but you've seen it, last season he played phenomenal. The first 5 games he played, he hit 2 game winners for us. I mean, he was putting up the stats and then he fell off a cliff. Why? He's disgruntled. This team isn't playing to their full potential. I don't know if it's like you said, they love playing with their friends, that, the game doesn't matter to them because they got their friends there. So, hey, who cares if we win or lose? In the end of the day, we went out there and have fun. Well, that works in Pee-wee and when you're a kid, but when you're getting that bag, you got to, put up or shut up. You know what I mean? So Vooch, is he the guy that we need right now? Absolutely not. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean, Vooch is such how do you put it? He's such a put together player that at this point you trade him to a team that is even a halfway decent team, you will see the old Nikola Vucevic come out just because he's now in an environment where he can succeed. You know what I mean? He's a great player. I mean, and another thing we got to touch on is how many years do we tell this guy we're going to trade him to a good team? Wow, we might get rid of him and send him to the Warriors. He might go to the Lakers. He might go to all these teams who are, close to a championship, and then come trade deadline, he's still putting on a Bulls uniform. So that has to take a toll on your mentality, and throw in the just insane separation of age. It's like a man amongst boys. You know what I mean? I love Nikola Vucevic. He's definitely been one of my favorite players of the modern era Bulls, but I think it's best for everybody that we'd send him on his way. Whatever we get for him, we get from him. We just chalk it up as, hey, thanks for putting on that uniform. Thanks for giving us, the 6-7 good years, but you do your thing. We gotta move on for what's best. Yeah. I didn't do that on purpose, but we gotta, in the end of the day, this is a business. We got to do what's best for our franchise. And right now it ain't you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can agree. I haven't always been the biggest Vooch fan. I haven't been the biggest Vooch hater. I've always kind of been in between. Like I like what he does, but then I always felt like it was not needed on the Bulls. Like I always felt like the Bulls, I just felt like realistically we've had people that can get a bucket. And Vooch, I feel like if we would have put him like 2-3 years ago, actually traded him somewhere pretty decent where he could have like really put up some decent, meaningful stats, I think it would have been better for his just overall ending of his career. Because I just feel like sometimes at the end, like he's talented for sure. It just seems like the points that he puts up, we just need so much more on the Bulls that what he does is it just doesn't do much. It doesn't do much. So for me, I always just get frustrated seeing him at center when it's like, we need the boards. We need to play defense. Like, yes, you did come down and hit a 3. And that trailer 3. Vooch loves that trailer 3 at the top of the key. Like, yes, but like then all the big men, because realistically the Bulls haven't had a good center forward, like that center forward position in a minute. Like that's been our biggest lacking position. I think like for me, I'm just ready to see the Bulls get like I want to see us with a defensive center. I want to see us with a
Yes.
defensive center so bad.
Yes.
I think that would change a lot for us, especially with the pace. We love to play at a high pace. What would help that more than having a defensive center that's going to help, make transition opportunities.
Yeah.
So,
which is why it shocked me that I'm glad you said that, because I've been wanting to say, like, when we drafted Noah Senge, okay, we're already getting flack like, oh, we drafted Noah Senge over Derek Queen. Why? I mean, not that I don't like Noah Senge. I think he's going to be a great project, but the Bulls really didn't need a project. They needed to fill a void. They knew they were hurting at the center position. And when you got a player like Derek Queen, you could have picked up in the draft, who's now, changing the games in New Orleans. Why did we elect to get another forward, small forward, power forward? I mean, we could have gotten our center. We could have had the prayers answered. He could have been mentored under a Vooch, whether it had been good or bad, but you know what I mean? He could have played, he could have came up through our system. We could have addressed our center check. We're good there. You know what I mean? But instead we elected to draft
another project,
the forward again. But
yeah.
It's when you're a GM, you have to address the areas that your team needs the most. And cool, my center can get me 20 points, but if he's only getting 6-7 rebounds, that's a loss. Those are small forward numbers. I need big man numbers. I need 15 points, 13, 14 rebounds. I need some offensive boards. I don't need my center at the top of the arc when players are driving the cup and the other team gets the ball. I don't need my point guard leading my team in rebounds when I have an almost 7-footer on the team. It's ridiculous.
Put that man on the Warriors.
I mean, they have Quinton Post, but
yeah, not no more.
But Queen, I am intrigued by Queen, and I would have very much been happy with him. But he's definitely not a defensive center. We might have still had the same problems. Maybe not so much in the rebounding, because what doesn't get talked about with Nikola Vucevic, which drives me insane, is that he doesn't grab contested rebounds. I only saw him once do it in the home opener, the game that I went to. It was insane. And he doesn't get offensive rebounds. So when the defense 90% of the time is going to run back to go play defense, they're no back to play defense. You're wide open for the board. You're going to get it majority of the time. And you're the biggest guy there because everyone else is running back. Kind of, it's easy. Boom, your team sets you up for the rebound. I always refer to Steven Adams when he was on OKC with Russell Westbrook. How he would box out and let Russ get the rebound to average the triple-double. Rebounding is much more nuanced than just grabbing the board and just, okay, here it is. That's why I'm like, when you say the 13-14, I'm like, they desperately need that because you can give up the offensive hub. And that's why, like, I came out with an article around that time. I was open to them trading the pick entirely. Let's go and get Walker Kessler. That was like around the draft. Let's go get somebody because I didn't really see anyone that could right away come fill these needs for the Bulls. Where did I have? I had Queen ranked 3. I had Kaman Malawak. I think he was ranked number 1. He could have easily came in. Well, right now I think he's developing in Phoenix more so. But he's also a project, but I feel project centers usually pan out more than a wing. I always think back to Frank Ntilikina. The Knicks wanted to be DeMar, and now he's not in the NBA.
Shanghai Sharks.
Yeah. All this to say, like, I think that draft pick was always sort of doomed, because then you could have gone after Thomas Sorber, who towards ACL, and now you don't have him for the entire season. Bulls should have afforded that. Looking at it now, with Noah Senge being out for the rest of the season because of shoulder surgery, it's just a lot that they really have to clean up. Getting the boards. I hate that I'm gonna say this, but it helps me transition to our other topic on Matas Buzelis' development. But he should really be playing the 3. Typically, I don't care if you're the 3 or the 4, it doesn't matter. But he's a very wiry guy. that you should definitely have someone who's more beefy and tall to take on all these power forwards in the NBA. Aaron Gordon,
I
Scotty
agree.
Barnes,
Yeah.
Giannis, Mobley. I did
Yeah.
not realize like the power forward position's back.
Well, it's not even back. It's new. This is a whole new power forward position because they took every superstar small forward and made them a power forward. Like all of those people in the beginning of their season, in the beginning of their careers, were all small forwards. Like LeBron it was a small forward. Melo, those were all small forwards. Now that's a power forward, and they're mixed in with the big guys and the medium superstar guys are all power forwards. That's probably the hardest position, one of the hardest positions in the game.
Do you think, Sal, is this Bulls playing Matas at the 4? Is that helping or hindering his development? And what are your thoughts on just the approach to his development overall this season?
I mean, that's a great question. I mean, since the day he got drafted, I always understood he was a small forward. I mean, he even plays like a small forward. And guess what? If he develops a mid-range game as opposed to just the three or the drive and try to dunk on somebody, he would be up there with amongst the top small forwards in the league. I think what would be best for the Bulls is maybe not put him size-wise, because you touched on size. If he puts on the muscle, he could potentially play power forward. Cool. But instead of relying on somebody to change their body, why not just put them at the position that they already excel at and go get that guy that has that body frame? Now, I'm not saying go out there and go get your Zion, and completely change the dynamic of the team. But like, I don't like that the Bulls play so many players out of position. Matas Buzelis is a small forward, and there's no other way. And just like Patrick Williams was a small forward, he wasn't a power forward. You know what I mean? The Bulls like to supplement size with stats. And a lot of people forget when you're going up against that Giannis, when you're going up against that LeBron, you look like you look terrible because you're going up against somebody bigger than you. I mean, I think that this year, if they really want to develop Matas, I think what they should do, and it's going to get me a lot of flack, but run Jalen Smith at the power forward more and throw Matas at the small forward. Run that double big and give Matas the keys. If you're so invested that this year isn't going to be our year, start on plan B. Matas is our future. Put him at the position that he is, a small forward, and just keep filling that bag up with as much resources that we could give that young man to become an elite player in this league, because that's the only hope that we have to have even close of a star player. Aside of Josh Giddey, of course.
Ale knows I love a good double big.
I love the double. I used to do keys to the game, and then I stopped because, it was getting to the point where it's like the only key I have is score more points, because no matter what I say, the simplest thing, you don't do it. But I was a big fan of double big, and it's proven to work. One area that we lack in is rebounds, because, as we touched on, and I hate keep, crapping on Vooch, but those little tip back rebounds that he does, I mean, those are 50-50 balls. We need more guaranteed rebounds. Go up there like a man, grab the ball, 2 hands, squeeze, and make sure nobody takes it from you. We don't need you tipping it back to a wide open guy at the arc to hit a 3 in our face. You know what I mean? So, and Jalen Smith can do that. When he goes up, he grabs man rebounds. You know what I mean? And he will make you fight for it, So running a double big, throw Matas out there. Unfortunately, as much as people like ice, I mean, I would say, run Kobe, Giddey, Matas, Jalen Smith, and it's going to be Vooch until Zach Collin takes his jobs, but and see where that goes. It's experiment. You know what I mean? I'm not one that's going to say I don't like tanking. I like the Bulls to go out there in every single game, whether they're playing, the Cavs or they're playing the Hornets. You play for the W. You know what I mean? So I don't like tanking, but experiment with your lineup, man. Eventually, you're going to get something that's like, oh man, I didn't even think that was going to work, and it's working.
Yeah, because if we're losing, what else can we do but lose? Like, I mean, throwing somebody else out there and losing is not doing us anything different than what we were going to do before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's literally the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over, hoping for a different outcome. But it's like, all right, man, you went on, you had the easiest schedule there. And I hate calling them easy because they're professional teams, but 5 of the last 8 games that we've played, they had no more than 5 wins, and we lost every single one of those games. It's like you should have changed something, man. Like run something different, you know.
Yeah, I'm happy that Matas is even getting minutes because you know how the Bulls love to not give a young guy their tick.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
I'm glad he's at least on the floor.
Yeah. And this
So
year,
I
man,
got
like
Mhm.
he's slow. You know, and this year I know a lot of he's struggling, but like I'm a firm believer in sophomore slump, man. You know, just
Mhm.
I won't even count what he does this year. Is that if I see some positive, you know, that's a win for me. But you know, it's going to be everyone has a sophomore slump. You know what I mean? I want to see
I
what he
just want
does
to
next
see
year.
confidence. As long as
Yes.
I see confidence, I don't care what he has going on realistically because we see
Yes.
this, we see what he can produce. And you also, that's one of the first things you said. If he developed the mid range, he's gonna be up there with the rest of the guys. I just talked about this last episode too when Duncan was on because like if he to the different like having that mid range, all the a star like somebody who's at the top of their game also has that mid range, and it's not just a dunk or a three. I said that I agree because like when you even think about it, all the top stars, all of the top stars you can pretty much name, except like maybe Curry is probably like a you know, because he's a 3-point shooter, but like you know, you think Brunson, you think SGA, you think like all these guys like KD, the scorers, the guys who get buckets, that mid range is a huge part of their game because the mid range, there's so much mid range. Realistically, most of the court is mid range, and if he can just compose himself and take a couple of those when he's open, that's you know 6, 8, 10 more points a game. That's these small little things that he can do that'll elevate him. But I also feel like they got to give him the opportunity. I just always get scared that we're not giving the young boys enough green light, you know?
Per Matas Buzelis, Billy Donovan said, "You take that mid range, you crumble it up, and throw it in the trash." Even though last night we just saw Kevin Herter, and every other possession we see Patrick Williams do his best DeMar DeRozan impression, only to lead
He
to a
will take
turnover
a
or an
million
air
minis.
ball.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. That's what upsets me. That's what first I'm about to crash out because like why why is this player getting the exception but not like we're talking about Kevin Hurt. No disrespect to any of these players. If they're in the NBA, you're getting paid to play basketball, the sport we love, the sport we're talking about, and I don't want to just crap all over them. But we're talking about Kevin Herter. We're not talking about Brandon Ingram, Kevin Durant. We're not talking about LeBron, or I could go on. But
We're
I
talking about a
painted the
man who's
picture.
actually a 3-point specialist.
Like he's a scorer. Like I think Kevin Herter does more than 3-point shooting, but like why can't we just hammer it down and that he has to follow these same instructions, or he's just getting that exception because he's been in the lead longer? That doesn't make sense. That I don't like that mentality of all right, you need to hit this quota, then we just start letting you play. I don't like. I know there's more to it than like when people say he needs to earn his minutes and opportunity, but it also comes down to like a lot of these guys just aren't that good. Who are we talking about here? Who are we talking? Like we're defending these niche things that don't need defending. Why? Because our last 20 games were 5-15. What are we doing here? We just talked about the push off right now with you, Sal. That's where the expectations should be, but they're not. Instead, we're talking about Vucevic needs to start still, so his feelings don't get hurt, or whatever. What like these niche things that just aren't leading us to wins anyway.
Mhm. Yeah, I've said it before. This team needs to operate like it's got 6 banners hanging in the rafters because we're not the Hornets, we're not the Kings. We are the team in the city that spawned the greatest basketball player and greatest franchise, for that matter, of all time. And we need to start acting like it because since '98, I could think of one time, and that was when D Rose anomaly fell into our lap, that we've even attempted to do so. I mean, ever since then, I hate to say it, but we've been a laughingstock. I mean, we've had locker room issues. We've had a coach choke out a GM, coach out a coach, make live stream media. We had a center basically, prove on live TV to Casey Johnson that he doesn't get along with his teammates. Like, I mean, this is a joke of I don't want to say it's a joke of a team, but this is not the behavior of a winning franchise. You don't see that happen on the Lakers. You don't see that happening in Boston because they hold themselves and their franchise to a higher standard. And I feel like once the ownership and the GM get back in that mindset that I want to play like we are the Chicago Bulls, not just a bunch of high school kids, I feel like then we'll start holding our heads high again.
Yeah, that's you said it right there. The Bulls are the only team with the amount of rings that we have that don't seem like it. Like the Lakers, they're just such an official team. The Celtics, like, yeah, they're so official. The Bulls, like, if you didn't know, you almost would never think we would have rings. Like,
right?
Because we don't operate like we're just like one of the top teams. We're not even looked at like that by I don't think anybody anymore. I think the Bulls, as far as logo from what Jordan carried, is always going to hold weight around the world. But as far as like the Bulls basketball team, yeah, we're not respected like in that same light anymore.
No, because you got to think, man,
like,
every year we are rumored to get some big player, whether it be through free agency or trade. I'll focus more on the free agency. Why is it that we always are connected to these big players and we have sit down meetings with these players, but then once the meeting's over, they never sign here?
I still can't forgive Carmelo Anthony.
Yeah, Carmelo. Remember T-Mac? We wined and dined him, and then T-Mac's like, I never had any intention of going there. Thanks for the free meal.
Like, I feel as if, correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of like the older Bulls fans are blinded, or almost like because of what happened in the past. So a lot of players who just, I hate to say this, I don't want to be this negative, but generally suck, who just aren't NBA level players, are looked at a shinier light because they're wearing the red and white. And in fact, they're just not NBA level players. Jim Boylan and Fred Hoiberg, not NBA level coaches. Like, during that time, people aren't remembering it as bad as I did. Like, it was horrible. It was embarrassing to be a Bulls fan. It felt like you're almost like a Canes fan. Like, it was bad. It was
Even
really
they got
bad.
the beam right now.
They're definitely not lighting the beam. They had the one beam, one season, one beam, and then.
Well, I think the Bulls need a beam or some kind of like we need a red rush or something. We need some kind of spark. Like,
I mean, it's a response because they took our gimmick of Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan, so we need to make sure we have a counter. They copied our whole flow, word for word, bar for bar.
Yeah, for sure. I remember that time, and that was like the least amount of Bulls basketball I watched in my life. I would try to watch a game. I'm like, yeah, no, this is not it. That was a tough time.
To wrap it up, Sal, I want you and Tre's projections for our next 3 games. We have games against the Cavs on Wednesday.
Cavs and the Hawks. The Hawks.
Yes. What's our record?
All right. So we are 10-15 right now going into these 3 games. And unfortunately, I hate to be Debbie Downer here, we're going to be 10-18 at the end of this game. I do think that, the Bulls, one thing that we cannot discredit them is whenever we are matched up against a good opponent, we always step our game up. You know what I mean? Even if the L was written before the whistle even blew, we still go out there and we play, we give our all. Like, we beat the Nuggets. I mean, and that was a game that we handled them whistle to whistle. I've never seen us play so well against a high octane team. But unfortunately, in lieu of, given locker room issues, given just players not playing like to their full potential, I don't think we have enough to beat the Cavs either time, either at home or over there. I mean, if we're going to win, we're going to get a win. It's going to be at the hands of the Hawks, and that's going to be another one of those games where we have to come back from 15 down and make it a nail biter and win either in overtime or by a game winner. But that's our only hope of winning our next 3 games.
Yeah.
What about you, Trey?
I just show fake optimism every time. So I'm gonna say we're splitting. We're gonna out of the 4 games, that we're gonna play, because we play Cavs, Hawks. I'll say we play the Cavs.
We're doing by the week, so it'll be Sunday. Sunday's at the
first,
cutoff.
I'll say then we're gonna win. We're gonna win one Cavs game. We're gonna win one against the Cavs, and we probably win the first one against the Hawks. I'm gonna say we win 2.
All right.
Okay.
I'm gonna say we win 2.
I'm going with. I hope we lose. I want Cam Boozer. I can't believe I'm jumping on the tank, riding the tank. Pause. I can't deal with this anymore. They're not. I'm not gonna buy in and be bamboozled once again. I'd much rather have my hope in a player that most likely we won't get, rather than thinking that they're gonna somehow stop all this buddy stuff and play basketball.
I just want these games to be fun again, man. Like, last year when we were losing, the games were fun to watch, man. It was fun basketball. And even this year, the first half was fun basketball. Now it's like, this is not even basketball. This is LA Fitness. You know what I mean? This is not real basketball. We
have a lot of athletic guys running back and forth for sure. It's not a lot of basketball skills being had, but there's a lot of athleticism on the court. Guys are running. I will give them that. They are running real hard.
It's like, you guys ever watch like 5-year-olds play soccer, where it's just the one kid, they're all chasing after the ball. No one's really playing any position. It's just ball goes this way, 20 people go that way. Ball
one
goes
kid
that way.
They remotely good at soccer. He's gonna look like a god.
yes. That's what I get a flashback with what I'm seeing right now.
Yeah, I agree. I agree for sure.
Right. Before we let you go, we're gonna end it on a high note. We're not gonna end on no negativity. Mount Rushmore, Bulls route Mount Rushmore.
See, my Mount Rushmore is always built a little different because it's not necessarily built on stats. It's built on like how it's built on players that I've watched for one. So I'm not gonna put players like artists up there because I didn't watch them. So I always put players up there that when I was watching the game for the last 30 plus years, they were either my favorite players or I saw something in them that kept me going. I guess I'll start. What was it? You want 4 or 5?
Wait. Can we do this different? Can we all do a Mount Rushmore, but we can't say each other's player? We got to try to see if we can all come up with 4 different players.
Yeah. Let's make it fun. Why not?
All right.
Let's do it. Sal, you start.
All right. Well, we'll get the first two. We'll get the first 2 out of the way. Obviously, Derek and Mike are up there. Those are, 2 players that defined my fandom for the Bulls in a nutshell. You know what I mean? You had success and rings and championships, and then you had no rings, no championship, but the sheer talent making noise around the world. And youngest MVP, come from the city that he was born from. I mean, I love those 2. I think that if those 2 never put on a Bulls jersey, I don't think I ever became a Bulls fan. Number 3, and I don't think he gets a lot of respect that he deserves. Luol Deng, man. I got to say, when it came down to just smart, good guy players that were just fundamentally great basketball players, Luol Deng is up there. Winning sportsmanships award. I mean, you never saw anything negative of the guy, and he was definitely, you could tell he was the guy in the locker room that everyone respected, and I wish that the Bulls to this day had one of those Luol Deng caliber players. Before it was trending towards, it looked like Ayo Dosunmu was going to emerge and be that Luol Deng that everyone just loved. He was a good guy. He busted his behind on the court, and everyone had his respect, and that's the closest thing. Number 1 is going to shock a lot of people. My next one is Horace Grant. And we talk about a guy with just brute strength and takes nothing from nobody, the enforcer. I mean, that guy was insane. I mean, I it's unfortunate that I only got to watch him, during a couple of years, but Just everything about that man, I loved it. From the goggles, the number like 54. Who wears 54? You know what I mean? Those huge goggles, and it's cool because now that Styx is wearing the goggles, you get like a little. It's like Temu Horace Grant. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Not to talk negative of Jalen Smith, but you know, a lot of people forget just how good Horace Grant really was. So
Yeah, Horace was
honorable
the
mention, Kirk Heinrich.
for sure.
Go ahead, Trey.
I like that list. That's a very solid list. So D Rose is obviously my real number one, but I'm not gonna say D Rose. And so after D Rose, it's gonna be DJ Augustine. When D Rose went down, he was the person I loved to watch have the ball in his hand. And if it wasn't DJ Augustine, it was Nate Robinson. So those two have a special place in my heart because once we lost D Rose, like it was so hard for me. I was crying every day. I was really going through it. You know, I was only like 10, so I was actually probably crying. And watching those two gave me a little bit of love back in my heart for the game. Then we're gonna go Joakim Noah. That's my dog. That energy, that heart, everything about it. Like I just love Noah. Like Cleveland, what are we talking about? Like him pushing, like he's just like everything he is what I believe in. Like that's the culture that Joakim Noah is. That when I thought of Bulls culture back in the day, like that's what I thought of. And we haven't had that kind of culture in a long time. So I miss Noah. Like we need a Noah guy around the locker room. And then my last one, Andre Drummond.
Yeah. Yes. The big cat. Yes.
I love me some Drummond when he was here. I love Drummond. I've been a big Drummond fan for a long time. I don't know why. Don't ask me why, but I've been a fan of him since he's been in the league. And I was so happy when Chicago got him. And you know what? He didn't let me down one bit. He was a great time. He had some great games. He had some fun moments. And he was a good energy guy around the locker room. So Drummond is gonna be my last one.
All right. So first, I think you both know who we'll go with is hot sauce.
Yeah.
Kyle Korver. Oh my gosh! Like I love Derrick Rose. I love Noah, but Kyle Korver was the one that stood out for me. Kyle Korver was the one who really just changed the game for me. Just seeing him come off the street, I'm like, what? Who's doing that? And then I'm like, what? He's just going off cash every time. Insane. He took Noah from me, sadly. I gotta go with Ben Wallace. Ben Wallace.
Yeah.
I had one of my first Bulls game. It was when he was on the team. I had a basketball that had Ben Wallace on it when I was pretty young. And just hearing the stories about him, and that would also help Noah be who he is. That definitely went a long way for me. So I definitely have to include Ben Wallace. And then I'll go pre-broken face Chris Dunn. I thought he was unstoppable. I thought we were gonna. John Wall. I'm like, okay, perfect. Point guard position. We're good. He was just great. Fred Hoiberg was helping him improve his shot so much, but then it all fell apart when he fell on his face. But he has a great career though in the Clippers. Good for him. I'm happy to see he's thriving, even though the Clippers aren't really that good right now, and they might lose Kawhi because of the trees he never planted. But anyway,
Yeah.
lastly, I gotta go with Ayo Dosunmu.
Yeah.
I very much liked what he did at Illinois. Me and Trey went to Illinois.
Yeah, we went to school with him.
Yeah. So just hearing like the stories on campus of how hyped everyone was about Ayo, the fact that he came to the Bulls, that he fell in the draft. I feel like Jerry made a call to Adam Silver and rigged it, but that's tinfoil hat conspiracy theory. I like him as a player overall. I'm glad to see that he's thriving in the league, even though the Bulls are in the dumpster right now. But yeah, he'll make my Mount Rushmore.
That's a very solid list too.
Yeah.
I always got to give my honorable mention to Eddie Curry.
Yeah, yeah, dude. Those years, like, you know, as much as that was like the worst, like those were like the Mariana Trench of the Chicago Bulls. But like, did you notice every one of those players on that team went on to become like great players? Like, minus Eddie Curry, Tyson Chandler goes on to be one of the better centers. You know, Jamal Crawford, one of the greatest six men of all time.
Jamal Crawford.
So I got a question for you guys then. Oh yeah, real Ron Artest. I don't recognize any of his other names, but you mentioned that Big Cat was your favorite center. Who was your favorite? Like, there for a while, the Bulls had a habit of signing like an awkward, washed up center like Kurt Thomas, Nazim Mohammed. I mean, they signed Robert Parrish so who was like your favorite like awkward center that we signed?
Mine is Eddie Curry. The reason
Eddie Curry, okay.
But the reason for this, he's my first one. I'll say Andre Drummond ended up being my like later one, but like I say Eddie Curry. So I was a kid and I was like first playing 2K, and I forgot. I don't even remember what year that was where we had like Jamal Crawford and like all of them, but like I didn't know how to play the game. So the center was the easiest person for me to score with. They're closest to the basket. I got to hit the button and they're going to instantly make a dunk or a layup. So I just put in my head that Eddie Curry had to be the greatest player we had in history because on 2K, I was the best with Eddie Curry. And he was the only one I could score with. So I'm like, oh yeah, he's the best person on the team for sure. Like, and so I just made it up in my head that Eddie Curry was the best we had on the Bulls. And I like went and talked about it with you know, grown people. And at this point, I had went and I was in a heated basketball debate about how Eddie Curry was like the best Bull we had. Mind you, he had already been traded. He was gone from the team. But I'm like, I played with him on 2K yesterday. So there's what are you talking about? Like they had to like really tell me that 2K wasn't real, like that. You know, so yeah, Eddie Curry like was a big inspiration for me with basketball for sure. Like Eddie Curry.
Yeah. So tough times, man. Remember when you had to like manually fix the roster yourself? If somebody you couldn't just download a patch, you had to like pick somebody.
Eddie Curry was there. I thought Eddie Curry was there. I was about a year or two behind. Like,
what about you? What about you, AD? Who was like your favorite like awkward center?
Nazim Mohammed.
Yes.
Just the push alone.
Thank you. Yeah,
you could be hot garbage on the court. I don't care. You did that push. Like, you're not playing. You are a grown man, not messing around, not letting these grown men try to push you around. That's what we need right now. I need that energy.
Bulls culture.
Like I'd slap the dog, you know what, out of you. Like, I need that.
Yeah,
that's my favorite.
Oh man, I see. Nasty Nas was mine, but like probably a close backup would have been shoot. Now you got me thinking. You know what? I'm gonna probably say one of the awkward, like my favorite awkward center was Felicio.
That's
just
nasty.
because I don't know what the heck that this team saw in this guy. I think it's because his nickname was Shaquille Brazil, and they were like, "Oh man, like." Yes, he's going to be the next Shaq.
Did he have that before he got to the Bulls?
Yeah, he did. His nickname down there was Shaquille Brazil, and they're like, "Oh, hold on." It's kind of like when the Bears drafted that guy because he jumped out of a pool. But like, and then Felicio comes to the leads, and he's a walking meme, and yeah, whatever.
It was D Wade that got him paid. D Wade like spoon fed him these incredible lobs that he would always catch, but then after that nasty season,
God, that's such a nasty season. You guys are giving me PTSD right now.
Man was good enough to get a contract, man. He got a contract after that.
Yo, we had Rondo, we had D Wade. Like, geez, what are we doing? What are we doing?
And they just rolled the ball out there. I heard Michael Carter Williams talk about it, or Fred Hoiberg snapped on Jimmy. He was like, F you, Jimmy. I don't know you don't like me. And then Jimmy's like, so what? What are you going to do? I'm like, wow,
also, you see,
really
no one mentioned Jimmy in their what do we do? Mount Rushmore. I just wanted to say.
No Jimmy, no Scotty.
No.
Well, I was trying to know players I watched. Like
Even if we weren't, I'm not putting Scotty up there, but that's a whole different conversation for me.
Yeah.
All right. We're pretty deep on time. Final question for you, Sal, before you go. Celebrity crush.
Oh man.
Don't get in trouble now.
The thing is, she knows. I mean, I think
Okay.
I'm gonna be like, I think I'm gonna join like 85% of the rest of the world and say celebrity crush, Sydney Sweeney.
Okay.
Funny story. Like, I actually this might get me in trouble. Like, the name won't get me in trouble. This will get me in trouble because I don't think my wife knows this part of it. I don't want to get you guys in trouble now with this story, but you remember when she was selling the soap? The soap,
Yeah.
well, with their bathwater. Okay. I was curious, so I'm like, you know what? I want to get me that. So I actually set an alarm on my phone, a countdown timer on my phone, so that 10 minutes before that went on sale, because it was a pre-release, you had to be on, and so I actually set my phone for 10 minutes before the sale went on. So I was like, no, for sure I'm getting one of these. For sure I'm getting one of these. And then the clock hit all zeros and it was just sold out instantly. I'd never been so pissed.
I'm not gonna lie. Waiting for a Sydney Sweeney soap drop like it's Jordan's is kind of insane work.
That's insane. I mean,
that's how I just was for these I'm never like that, but that's how I was for the Jordans. So to hear you like that for the Sydney Sweeney soap is kind of crazy. That is
did you try to get resale?
I went on eBay and there's the thing, if I was a rich man, yeah, I would, because dude, some of those bars of soap are like $1,500. I'm like, I'm not that sick. Like I'm a weird guy, but that's out of my ballpark. But then you were reading about how people were selling fake soap bars and printing labels out. I'm like, because weirdly enough, the soap went on sale, but then 2 hours later, people were already selling them on eBay. It's like, I don't know, but
I looked it up right now. These prices are insane. Let me go to StockX. StockX is usually kind of reasonable.
Why are they selling Sydney
140 is not bad, all things considered, considering the other prices.
140.
You can buy some Jordan 11s, or you can buy Sydney Sweeney soap.
Hey, you got to stay clean, man. You got to stay clean. You smelled my shoes. My shoes are funky, man. My feet stink. I got to wash up. I need some soap.
Thank you so much for coming on, Sal. Tell us where we can find you.
So you can find me and the rest of my hosts at Chicago, or at Horns Over Hoops. The handle is different for every single platform, just because it is. We mainly do our stuff on YouTube. You can find our show on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We're getting big on we try to put a majority of our attention on YouTube and TikTok, even though I'm 37. I don't know how the heck to use TikTok, man. I don't know all these it's weird. You could see a video of a random thing, it gets 1 million views, and then I post something, it gets 10 views, and it's I don't know what I'm doing. But X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, we're pretty much everywhere. You don't have to look very hard.
Perfect. Thank you so much for joining us. I am Alejandro. You can find me at Local Bulls Fan. That is my co-host Trey Ruff. Trey _Ruff 773. Thank you all for listening. Go Bulls. We'll see
as much red as you can, man. See as much red as you can.
All right.